Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
Totalitarianism, as we know it, was invented by the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages. Mm-hmm. In the old days, the Roman Empire didn't really care what you believed. That if you were going to revolt against Rome, and you better, just offer a pinch of incense to Caesar.
The emperors were worshipped as gods, but they weren't the only gods.
They weren't the only gods, and the enlightened people in ancient times didn't even really care and didn't believe in it themselves.
There were many materialists in ancient Rome.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't really care. All they wanted to do was, just to have this kind of allegiance.
Yeah.
But in medieval Christianity, you had to believe this stuff. If you believed even something that was almost practically 100% identically the same, except for one little glitch here and there, you could well be hauled off to the stake.
Yeah.
And this raises a question that we can go into at some point or another, but this is a fact of human nature.
Many of the leading esoteric scholars of the Renaissance era were persecuted.
In one way or another.
Burnt at the stake, Giordano Bruno, for example.
Yeah, and but there was this period in the Renaissance when these ideas were a little bit more permeating the world of the intellect.
Yes.
And, for example, a piece I wrote for Quest magazine recently was about Shakespeare's worldview. Now, Shakespeare's worldview only makes sense in terms of the occult philosophy of the Renaissance.
Particularly his final play, The Tempest.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's like a Magus, Prospero, who's very much part of that. That is the worldview of Shakespeare's plays. That was actually what was current in his time. That was actually the zenith of its influence when he was coming of age. So, that makes perfect sense. But no sooner had the kind of totalitarian control of the Catholic Church waned than a new wave of intolerance came with basically a scientistic materialism.
Yes.
Now, these traditions are not persecuted per se in Europe and the United States. They're certainly regarded as intellectually extraordinarily disreputable. And if you were writing, and I'm talking, think of some mainstream intellectual periodical. I'm not going to name any because I don't feel I owe any of them anything. Just think of one, and it's on the list. They really cannot write about these subjects without contempt and often an almost willful ignorance to the point of getting even major details wrong. So these things are, although they've been rediscovered and there's an enormous amount of popularity, the intellectual world is still rigidly against it. Some people are telling me that this is weakening. I'm willing to take their word for it, but I don't know. I'm not sure I've seen it yet.
In other words, esoteric culture in contemporary times is very much on the fringes of our society.